Meeting will come to order. Ms. Gore, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Benjamin?
Here.
Ms. Fletcher?
Present.
Ms. Williams?
Present.
Mr. Biot?
Present.
Mr. Lamar?
Present.
Ms. Mason, would you lead us in our pledge to the flag, and then it will be followed with our moment of silence. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Citizens' comments, Ms. Gore? Okay. Let's go ahead with the approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the May 22nd, 2018 agenda. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, the motion's carried. Reports, Chairman's report. I do not have anything to report tonight, so we'll move on to the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. I have a short report today. I do want to report to the board. You have before you a copy of our policy on testing programs 4.70.
Yes.
You know, since the last time that we've met, as they've ended the legislative session, there were some new laws that were passed as it relates to the 10-ready testing this school year. So I wanted to give the board an update on where we are, the guidance that has come out from the Tennessee Department of Education that aligns to the new legislation and state board rules, and see how that looks with our current policy. And so the legislation that was passed provides that grades 3 through 8, for grades 3 through 8, that each local board of education may choose the percentage that the 10-ready test may count on their grade from 0% to 15%. That is new. Before, there wasn't a 0% in there. In accordance, in April, then the state board went and made it for boards to be able to do the same for high school, anywhere between 0 to 15% for the end of course exams. If you look at our policies, and then the other piece of that is that if a local school board does decide to allow 15% or 10% or 5%, something that does count toward them, that it cannot hurt a student's grade, right? And so that was another piece of the legislation. Now, you may remember that in 2015, a law was passed regarding when test scores come back. And that law is that if the test scores do not come back within the last 5 days of the school year, then districts may opt not to use them at all, even though you may have adopted a certain percentage if you don't get them back timely enough. So if you look at our testing policy that we have currently, and if you go to lines 11 through 14, our test scores for 3 through 8 will not come back till June. And so that's already covered that in the 2015 law that was passed, that districts may choose not to use them. So obviously for grades 3 through 8, the 10-ready score, even though there really wasn't any type of disruption on the testing for grades 3 through 8, because that was paper pencil, they will not count toward the students' grades because we simply don't have them back, and we'll not have them back till June 15th, okay? The second piece of that is for the high school, for the EOCs, we received those raw scores back today. And those scores for EOC tests counts as their semester exam. And so we have the ability to either, one, we can just, they come back within the last 5 days, we can say they don't count at all underneath that 2015 legislation. The board can vote to do 0% or up to 15%. What I'm recommending that we do, and that fits within the policy lines 11 through 14, since it's coming back within these, within the last 5 days, is that we take those scores and go student by student if that score helps them, then we'll count it. If the score does not help them, then we will exempt them from that. That way, it helps them. If it helps them, they'll get credit for it, but if not, it won't hurt them. Our other option is just to not use them at all, but I think these kids have been working hard, and if they perform to where it helps them, I think
Agreed.
that, so that is the direction that we're going. Ms. Douglas is working hard, as she just got those scores back today, and I'm working on that methodology and putting a score with that to get to the teachers, and that'll be going student by student. So what that means is that a student that took the Algebra 1 EOC and the Biology 1, they may get the grade from the 10 rating for the Algebra 1, but not Biology, okay? Because it's gonna be student by student, test by test, okay? Does the board have any questions regarding that and how the new laws affect them?
And so is that just our discretion, or is that your discretion, off those, based off the law?
So,
Is that how it
two
works?
different things. So, since it comes back within the last 5 days, the policy said that it's the superintendent's discretion.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it fits into that category.
Okay.
Now, one of the things that we are looking at doing is we're looking at this policy with the new legislation. If you look at the policy now, for example, line 6 and 7, that's now and 8 and 9, that's obsolete because 16-17 school year has passed. So we're gonna be updating this policy. And so I will be coming to you all in June with a recommendation that falls within the new law on what my recommendation is for that. And then that's something that the board will discuss in June and decide which way to go with that.
Okay.
Okay?
Good.
One of the things I will tell you that I'm mindful of in looking at this, we know that there was a lot of issues with the online testing for the EOCs. Luckily, we didn't experience the extent. We did one day. You know, we don't know from year to year what that's gonna look like. But at the same time, I know that our teachers, if they're gonna be held accountable for that test in some way, then they want some type of responsibility for students. So, you know, how do we look at that? And I think we have to look at it each year because we gotta look at the administration of the test. Was it as successful? What were the kids on a level playing field? So, yeah, I'm gonna be mindful of that when I'm putting together a recommendation for the board for this new policy.
Good.
And with that, that concludes my report.
Oh, well, thank you, Ms. Mason. General Counsel report, Ms. Speakman.
Board members, I am here tonight to discuss the evaluation results for Superintendent Mason. Superintendent Mason's current year composite score is 100% across the board. Said another way, every board member indicated that Ms. Mason met all of the objectives the board set for her. Congratulations. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Speakman. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done.
Financial report, Ms. McDaniel.
The March 2018 financial report, general fund revenues, $34.6 million. Expenditures were $26.5 million. Nutrition fund, $758,661. Expenditures, $720,514. The federal and discretionary grant funds, revenues at $2 million, expenditures at $2 million. And then the CIP fund, revenues, $817,482. Expenditures, $989,570. And then for the interlocal health benefits plan asset trust report, March 2018 year-to-date revenues, $26.3 million. Year-to-date expenses, $29 million, with a beginning balance of $6.4 million and an ending balance of $3.7 million. And this concludes the monthly financial reports.
Thank you, Ms. McDaniel. We'll move on to the TLN report.
Well, I don't have anything tonight. I'm gonna get with general counsel and we're gonna get you a detailed report over the past legislative session, probably available next meeting.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Viox. Is there a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda?
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, the motion's carried. All right, we will move on to our miscellaneous budget amendments for fiscal year 2017-18. Resolution 2018-10 of the Arlington Community Schools Board of Education amending the 2017-18 schools budget. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Superintendent Mason?
Yes, these are monthly adjustments to the budget going into, as we are ending this year, budget year. So with that, I'm recommending to the board that we pass the proposed resolution 2018-10, amending the 2018 budget.
All right, you've heard the superintendent's recommendation. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. The ayes have it, motion's carried. Let's move on to business recommended action items. 9A, approval of the IDEA federal funds for 2018-19 allocations.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Superintendent Mason.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Each year, this time of year, as we're in budget season, we get from the federal government, we get our budgeted amount for IDEA, which is special education, and our ESSA monies. You will see that federal funding for this year, our preliminary budgets for Title I is a little over 1.1 million. For Title II, 59,000. For Title III, 3,278. Title IV, which it was a new category from last year, well-rounded, a little over 31,000 for total, and then for IDA, 862,000, and pre-K, 6,497. With that, my recommendation is that the board approved our application to receive those funds for the 18-19 school year.
All right, you've heard the superintendent's recommendation. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, the motion's carried. We'll move on to approval of the contract opting into Tennessee E-Rate Consortium with the ENA for voice services in the amount of $36,000 per year for 3 years.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Superintendent Mason.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. You may recall our first years we entered into our own school district. The Arlington Community School District, our district, created our own consortium for E-Rate, and several other districts joined into that consortium. That has since expired, and my recommendation is that we opt into Metro Nashville's consortium, which meets our needs for E-Rate, and specifically for this, for ENA voice services for the next school year.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, the motion is carried. Let's go to the approval of contract with SKB Facilities and Company for 12 months in the amount of $52,096.78 per month. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve. Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Superintendent Mason.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. You all may remember last year we approved a new contract with a new vendor, SKB. We've been very pleased with the services that they have provided for us. And so with that, it is my recommendation to the board that we continue using SKB and approve the next 12-month contract with SKB in the amount of $52,096.78. That does include for the 4 school sites and central office.
And that was a local company, right?
It's a
That's-
local,
that's great.
family-owned business,
That's awesome.
yes. yes.
Is the amount about what it was last year, slightly higher?
It's slightly, oh, is it the same? It's exactly the same. It's exactly the same.
Is it the same? Well, good.
I have to say, I have noticed a difference in our schools, just looking
Agreed.
around. I think SKB has done an outstanding job, so I'm just glad we found them.
They've been very easy to work with. I think Mr. Ruff can tell you that they've been very easy to work with as well.
All right, any other comments or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The ayes have it. Motion is carried. All right, move on. The recommendation to enter into a memorandum of understanding between the town of Arlington, Tennessee, and the Arlington Community School Boards of Education pertaining to the lease of Apple computers.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Superintendent Mason?
So this item, unlike the last 2 years, we've entered into several contracts with Apple for student devices. You all may remember the first year, we leased computers for our teachers. We are now going into year 5. It's time to refresh our teacher machines. According to, I guess it's state law, comptroller, school districts cannot enter into a lease with a company. And so what we do, since we're a city school system, the town holds that lease, and then we pay the yearly payment. This lease is for 3 years, and so this particular item is entering into a memorandum of understanding with our town that they will hold the lease, but we will be responsible for the payment essentially. I don't know, Ms. Speakman, do you want to add to that?
No, the memorandum just goes a little bit further and talks about that we would hold title to the devices, despite the fact that the town holds the lease. And you'll note that the lease, you're not actually approving the lease, because that document in and of itself is in fact with the town. So
Correct.
you're just approving the memorandum.
Do we
Any
transfer the money to
discussion?
the town, or we pay it directly?
In the past, we've paid it directly.
We pay it directly, so
Yeah.
it doesn't go through the town's budget, we pay it
The
directly.
last time it did not. It could work either way. That's what the town preferred last time.
Yeah, and there is a provision, though, Mr. Lamar, that says that if we did not pay the payment, that they could in fact just take it off what they give us in property taxes.
I
So-
see. But we plan on paying it.
Yes, sir.
Unless the town wanted to pay, in which case that'd be great.
All right, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the motion's carried. We will move on to 9E, recommendation to approve pupil transportation service agreement between Arlington Community Schools Board of Education, Collierville School Board of Education, Germantown Municipal School District Board of Education, Lakeland School System Board of Education, and Durham School Services LLP.
Motion to approve.
Second.
And so obviously with this item, I do want to make a recommendation to the board. This is one of our, what we had referred to earlier as interlocal agreements between multiple districts to provide transportation services. With that since placing this item on the agenda initially, there's been, one of the parties of the, that is involved in the agreement has made suggested changes to the agreement. And obviously those changes need to be discussed between all the parties. And so therefore, I'm recommending to the board that a motion be made to amend the current motion to say that the board approves the selection of Durham Services LP as the student transportation provider to ACS, and then grants the superintendent the authority to negotiate the terms of the agreement.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Villa?
I'd like to move to amend the motion to say the board approves the selection of Durham School Services LP as the student transportation provider to ACS and grants authority to the superintendent to negotiate the terms of the agreement.
Have a second?
Madam Chairman, before you vote, I just need to get a clean record on this. This is not the interlocal agreement. This is in fact the contract with Durham.
Okay,
Just,
okay.
you'll consider the interlocal in a bit, but
Yep, thank you.
you've
Thank you,
made
Ms.
the right
Speakman.
motion, so.
Yep.
So we're okay, we're on track? Okay.
So we need a vote on the.
All right, is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the motion's carried. Okay, do we need to go back to the main motion, or are we okay?
Yes.
All right, let's go back to the main motion. We have someone to make that motion, or?
Well, we did.
Well, we did,
Yeah.
so we already seconded, so let's vote. All, any discussion on that? Any discussion? All right, good. All right, let's move on then to say, that, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. All right, the ayes have it, motion is carried. All right, I think we got that one
Yep.
correct. All right,
Yep.
let's move on to 9F. Interlocal agreement for student transportation assistance. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Between Collierville Schools Board of Education, I'm gonna say all those again, Arlington Community School Board of Education, Bartlett City Schools Board of Education, the Lakeland School System Board of Education, and Germantown Municipal School District Board of Education. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, all those, is there any discussion? Oh, Superintendent Mason, let me let you
Yeah,
talk first.
well, it was, thank you, Ms. Beekman, obviously, this is the interlocal. This includes all of the other school districts. Does not include Durham, obviously, because this is not an agreement with them. But this is similar to what we've engaged in. This will be our only shared services going forward into the 18-19 school year.
All right, is there any discussion? Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. All right, the ayes have it, the motion is carried. Okay, let's move on. All right, we are now ready for the superintendent's contract amendment. And I believe we have, everyone has a copy of that contract. And we did amend it by compensation and also by car allowance, if everyone would remember. Do we have any questions concerning that? Well, we better have a motion first.
Motion to
Let me have
approve.
a motion.
Second.
All right, is there any discussion?
I will say that, from the beginning, we've underpaid our superintendent. I think we still underpay our superintendent, but, the return on investment has been huge. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, any other discussions?
Yeah.
Questions?
Glad we're getting this done.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the motion's carried. All right, we'll move on. And approval of a recommendation to suspend ACS Policy 1400 to cancel the July 2018 ACS Board meeting. Do we have a motion?
I so move.
Second.
Superintendent Mason, did you want to speak to this, or do you?
I'll be happy to. This is, the last couple years, we have done this. Obviously, this is our busy time. Our staff and employees are coming back. We really don't have a lot of board business in July. And so, it is my recommendation that we cancel the July meeting, and suspend our policy. Obviously, if something comes up, we always have the ability to call a special call if necessary.
I have to say, I agree. I think that's a busy time of year when we're all preparing to open schools, so I think that's an important thing that we do that at this time. So is there any other discussion or comments?
Madam Chair, if I might, is it feasible for us to permanently cancel that, or is that frowned upon?
Absolutely, yeah.
So we just would need to update the policy for meetings of the board.
I don't know if there's support among the board for it, but it worked out well last year for you guys, and I know you looked at it for the first 2 years of existence, and we did almost nothing in that July meeting.
Right.
And I know you guys are super busy trying to get everything set up for school, so I agree with you. We could easily call a special call. We had a little experience today when we were at that meeting, and there's a lot of boards that don't have that July meeting at all. I don't know if there's support on the board for me. I say we do away with it and amend that policy, if not tonight, but at some point. We can suspend it tonight, but I think we should do away with that July meeting and use special call if something emergent came up, but.
But this vote is just for July 2018.
Yes,
That's
sir.
correct.
We're
That
voting
is
on right now.
correct, July 2018.
Thank
That's
you.
correct.
Ms. Beekman?
We can bring you that in
June.
the policy.
If there's support,
In June.
We'll bring it as, we wouldn't wanna
Yeah.
debate
Yeah.
whether there's support tonight, but
Yeah.
we'll bring it to you and you can see if there's support in
Yeah.
June. How about that?
I would be in
That would
favor of
work. June would be good. All right. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The ayes have it, and the motion is carried. We are now ready for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. So the meeting, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Meeting is adjourned.